Hi, I'm Edgar Hernandez.
And I'm Nuri Robles. And this is
Bar Talking
Bar. Your access to the heartbeat of New York City's bar and hospitality scene.
Hosted straight from the city that never sleeps, we sit down with bartenders, brands and ambassadors, hospitality pros, and cocktail lovers.
Whether it's the art of bartending, the hustle behind hospitality, or the wildest bar tales, expect raw conversations and industry secrets.
Listen to the people who pour your favorite cocktails and keep the nightlife alive.
If you love bars, spirits, and the stories that bring them to life, follow us, share, and subscribe to keep the conversations flowing.
The podcast that you didn't know you need.
New episodes weekly.
Welcome back to another week of your favorite podcast, Bar Talking Bar.
Bar Talking Bar.
Yeah!
I'm Nuri Robles.
I'm Edgar Hernandez.
And today,
We have a special guest today.
a VIP guest.
VIP.
VIP.
Yeah, that's right. So,
We're going to introduce you.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Help me introduce Nikolas Vagenas. Nikolas Vagenas from Mr. Melo here in New York City. Well, New York. You have to say it twice because the city is so beautiful. Thank you, Nick, for being here. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Of course.
We know you go, you have late nights sometimes at Mr. Melo.
We both did.
Yes. But before we start talking, I want to thank the audience for tuning in and listening to us every week on and off. And honestly, thank you all for your support. If you guys continue commenting on the post, it really helps us to grow. And as we grow, we want to be able to invite more guests like today. But why don't we start by saying something?
Yeah, so before also, don't forget to subscribe, like and comment, and share it. Share it with your friends. And if they're not in the industry, better. Just share it because they know what's going on in New York City. And, they have the opportunity, if you haven't, to meet Nick at Mr. Melo, but also try all the good things that you're doing there. But yeah, let's start. So we usually, I know so many people knows you. But like I said,
so many people?
Yeah, so many. No,
I don't think that many.
Drugs, lows.
But there are some people that they don't know you.
Yeah.
So if you wanna help us to share your story, introduce yourself.
Yeah. I'm Nikolas Vagenas. I am a co-owner and beverage director at Mr. Melo. We've been open for 2.5 years now, which has been crazy. I'll be 3 in December, which is even crazier. Been in the industry for 10 years now. I started technically in college doing ice cream. I managed a milkshake restaurant at the college, which was silly. It was getting paid to do nothing, basically. And then my first job in New York, funny enough, was scooping ice cream also.
Where?
At Morgenstern's. I don't know if you know that spot.
Yeah, it's on a...
I think they had I don't know if they still have the location. They've changed it a couple times in Rivington Street. But then they used to have one on the west side also.
Next to Freeman's, actually.
Yeah. Pretty close to Freeman's. Yeah.
But before they were banana something?
Yeah, it was Morgenstern's, Bananas, and I think they're going back to Morgenstern's.
Yeah, now it's a blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. But where are you originally from New York?
No, I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. So I was born there in 94. And then I basically was there until just before the end of high school. And then I went to college at Sarah Lawrence in Yonkers.
Oh.
Technically New York City.
Yeah.
So,
Anything further up, the Bronx is upstate.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
No, it's true. I didn't learn that lesson for a long time. But yeah, I guess it's kind of in the same tax bracket. I always say I'm been here for 14 years, but technically it's only 10 in New York City because
You were in Yonkers.
I was in Yonkers, which some people won't count.
And what was your major?
I went to a liberal arts school, so you just study whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
I did some acting, some psychology, sociology, history, whatever. I just kind of just studied.
But do you have something in mind, after liberal arts, I'm going to be this?
I did acting for a long time. I was modeling and acting, and I was doing that pretty much up until the pandemic. And then I like hate doing self-tapes. I don't know. It's where you basically just like, you just record yourself instead of going to an audition physically. It just felt like a lot more, it wasn't as fun. It took a lot of the love out of it for me. So I was like, I'm just gonna like stop with this until if there's an audition that comes up, sure. But like, I'm kind of over it right now. So that was in like just before pandemic, or like around the pandemic, I guess. So.
And when you said that you were like already like 10 years in the industry, besides the scooping ice cream, how do you start like in the like restaurant?
Yeah, so scooping ice cream doesn't make any money. And I was super broke. And so I was like, obviously I need to start serving, bartending, bar backing, anything. So at the time, Morgenstern's had like sister cousin restaurants. One was Gigi's in the Alphabet City area, right next to Sophie's.
Yeah.
It's not around anymore, but it was a pizza spot. So they gave me a bar back job there, food runner. And again, I was still scooping ice cream because I did all the desserts. But I worked there for a while, and then I got a hosting job at Cafe Mogador, and those were making like way more money than scooping ice cream, so I stopped scooping ice cream.
The one in Williamsburg or in
Williamsburg?
Williamsburg.
Yeah. And that's eventually Mogador will be the reason that I meet Nate, who's my business partner at Melo, because he worked there also.
Oh,
Yeah,
he was also a bartender, or he was?
Yeah, he was a bartender. I was a host, and then I became a server, and then bartender, and then manager there.
Awesome. We
Yeah.
love that spot. I really love the lamb chunk in there.
Yeah.
That's my
It's an incredible spot. Yeah,
Yeah.
the owners are awesome, and one of the owners is an investor at Melo too. So we like really kept our ties
that's
connected with
amazing.
them throughout time. It was
I
cool.
love Cafe Mogador.
The food is
the pita,
amazing.
I would be like, can I have another? Can I have another?
Yeah, 100%. All the food is like unbelievable there. They deserve all the credit and love that they get. So
Yeah.
And what makes you fall in love with bartending? Because, some people, they stay like a server or like, managing.
Well, first it was just money, but because bartenders get paid more sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think I am a very like creative person, and like I wanted to do more things and like create cocktails, and like I did a lot of cooking at home. I've been like a chef, like not like a chef, but like I've cooked for myself my entire life. Like both my grandmas are incredible cooks, and they taught me how to cook, and so I've always been able to do that. And then it just kind of translated really easy into hospitality, because it was like, oh, you can do food, great. And then like when I was doing my food running stuff, I would watch the cooks, because I was dishwashing too, and I would watch them do everything. And I like learned so much. I'm like really good at picking up stuff fast. And then when I was given the opportunity to bartend, it was like, oh, I could create stuff and do what they're doing. And I just fell in love with that aspect of it, especially. So.
I mean, your background is Greek, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, like you said, your grandmas, I believe that.
Yeah. Both my yaya and my grandma, like my grandma on the non-Greek side, she like cooks amazing, and my yaya especially, like they've been teaching me how to cook since I was a baby. So like I feel like I grew up with definitely a culture of food being like super important, and taking time and care into every dish. And like the biggest thing that they taught me was tasting with your eyes, which is basically you just like look at something and you know how it tastes and feels, and you can be like, okay, well, if I had a pinch of this, a little bit of that, it's going to taste amazing. Yeah. So,
you know what? Now, and during your childhood growing up, do you ever think you're going to be like working in the industry, or like probably be serving others? Because a lot of us would say, oh, one day I want to do the grilling at home, or something like that.
No, I mean, like, I definitely didn't see myself working in hospitality when I was younger. And it's really, I don't know, ironic is the right word to use, but like my dad, who I don't talk to, he sucks. He was such an asshole to hospitality workers, like the worst. Like I'm talking like yelling, screaming, embarrassing shit that I had to deal with all the time when I was younger, that I was like, God, I never want to be in that position. I also feel really bad for those people, but that's terrifying that someone has to go through that. And then I end up doing the exact thing of that. Like, I remember when I was in the process of starting the bar, I was talking to my dad on the phone when I was still talking to him, and he was like, why the fuck would you open a bar? And I was like, why not? That's amazing. It's like such a blessing to be able to do something like that and serve people and take care of them and make them forget about all their problems. So yeah, I feel like also it really, hospitality converted me from being not necessarily introverted, but definitely like more hesitant to have conversations with people. Like when you get into this role of serving or bartending, you kind of you're able to express yourself really easily because there's these boundaries that you can be in. Like, you're just there to serve them and they're just to serve you. There's no awkwardness that can really take place because you have to get your job done ultimately. And it gives you way less anxiety. I don't know, social anxiety just kind of disappears because you're just, there, it's just a job,
And also your brain is distracted from other things that it's
Yeah, 100%. You can't even think about it. You're like, I got to remember 20 orders in the back of my mind before handheld POSs.
And memorize this new menu that
exactly, or every single varietal on the field red blend that we just put out. Like, all that stuff is in your brain. You just have no time to think like, what if they don't like me? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for me, most of my hospitality, I was like not in the bar, but like front of the house. And sometimes it's like very intimidating because you have like guests, they're like intimidating, and you're like, even if you have experience, sometimes the demeanor is kind of like challenging, and then you have to like go and it's like, oh my God, I have to go again. I mean, sometimes I get used to, but it was like, or like people that they really like want 20 things when they can order it in the first place, and then you have to go back and forth, and then then you have other tables, and I feel like I always tell Edgar, like bartenders are like their own space.
Bartenders gods, that's what they say. I read out in somebody's shirt, bartenders are gods. I was like, I think we've close it to that because sometimes we have to make magic.
Yeah, I don't subscribe as much that the bartenders are better than servers or whatever. I feel like they're both such hard jobs. And just because bartenders have to do two things at the same time, that is difficult for sure. But bartenders don't rely as much as when they're in the weeds, they don't really still have to engage with the guests in a way. You know what I mean? They could just be like, I'm bartending. They're shaking a cocktail. They'll take care of the guest. It's like a very transactional relationship. Servers, I feel like you have so little time to make magic happen with the guest or make them feel engaged or like try to just make them feel out of a place in a restaurant and feel like they're being taken care of in a different way. Bartenders also have free alcohol they can give at any point. Not always free, but you can give a little shot here and there.
Yeah.
And that, I feel like they have a little bit more of that easy routes that they can take, and servers are they get like 30 seconds to take an order, make someone smile, and then they walk away, and then I got to come back and check in like 7 more times. And maybe they have 20 tables and the bartenders have like the whole bar, but you have to be circulating, you have to be talking, you have to make everybody feel special in some way. And that's really difficult. And I feel like that's why I will never be like, bartenders get paid this, servers get paid this. It's all equal across the board at Melo. So. And
we also comment, right? Like sometimes when bartenders that they haven't been a server and they have to go to be server, it's like so funny to watch.
Yeah, it's hard. And then they just like they fall apart. Like they're like, oh yeah, I can totally bartend, but then like I can't take care of a 20 top and memorize every single order.
And run the drinks because also that's another thing. Yeah, not only taking the orders, running the drinks, all kinds of drinks from water to cocktails and to like a coffee. Like you have to memorize all these things and cry a tray. And if you have to go up on the second floor, or during the pandemic when you had to walk outside with the heat and trying to look happy all the time, when you're like from inside, you're like, you're dehydrated because you're losing so much water at the same time. Yeah. And you have no time to drink water. That's another thing, there's a hard part of serving that it doesn't go seen, but it's you're right.
I think ultimately, like if you really want to make like a dynamic difference between what people are making in a bar, it should be probably experience based at the most. If you really don't want to like pay someone this or that, like paying based on experience makes a little bit more sense because the person's been doing this a long time and they know. But like the moment like I feel like you make one better than the other, it doesn't create a cohesive team. Like but when bartenders and servers start to resent each other because of pay or resent each other because of this and that, like then the team starts to fall apart and there's distance. Like you want everybody to be able to do every single role and get paid the same so that they're all on the same page and they are all treating each other equally, No.
So
that's when pulling in the service industry works because, like you said, somebody who works on the floor and somebody who works behind the bar get the same amount of money, and that means it's all hands on deck. Yeah, because if I'm making money for you, helping you make my money, because it's a circle. I think it's basically at the end of the day, I think we try to make something for the guests and for the house too. You know? Because the house has to make money to pay everyone in the house, but also we have to make sure that the experiences from the guests is very similar. So if I have, like, we call it hands, right? If I'm walking by the kitchen, the chef says hands, I can drop some food.
Just grab it.
Or if you are making a cocktail and the cocktail is there and it's made out of crushed ice, you don't want it to die, the bartender could probably run it, you know? Or even the bussers, you know? Like, I'm so happy that some of the bussers actually pay attention to this, and they are able to run the drinks, say the drinks, the barbacks too, if they learn the menu, or even the food runner. If the food runner just came and dropped some food at the bar, and then you can say, hey, can you drop this to table 5 on your way back? And then, you know, he'll drop it and say, oh, this is a margarita made out of da-da-da. You know, like, that's why it's very important to train our teams in general, because it's a circle, full circle. So the same information that the bartender has, the server has it, the barber has it, the busboy has it. Like, everyone has the same information. So if somebody asks for anything in particular, you can just go tell the server, hey, they need another margarita with jalapeno tequila, whatever, and then they'll know. So, you know, like, it's a real good information full circle, but it helps the house when it's full, because, you know, everyone is making the same amount of money.
Yeah.
So how is the structure at Mr. Melo's?
So we pool, but we pool for the week, so it's not daily. So every hour you work commits to that 1 week. So if you work 20 hours, you're going to get the tipped hourly rate for the week. So it's just basically the total tips for the week divided by the total amount of hours put in. And that way it's like definitely on the more socialist side of things, because sometimes there's crazy Fridays and Saturdays and those people will get really rocked. But like this week, Sunday through Thursday, we had events. So it was like super busy. So everybody was busy. Everybody splits the tips throughout the week. Weekday people don't feel like their money doesn't get messed up. Weekend people still make their good money. And it's worked out really well. I mean, we've been doing it for 2.5 years. I did it at Meridian originally. My old boss, Sage, put it in place. And then I was like, this is great. And then the one thing we do is we ask the staff if they're okay with it. Like, we never put it in place, and that was just it. We explained how it works, and we told them, and they were like, great, that's how we do it. And that's it. And they've never voted, because we always take a vote if anybody has any issues, and they've never voted against it. And it's worked out really well, especially like on the business side. Coverage is really easy, because it's like, oh, on Monday I make Saturday money. So it's fine.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because beginning of the week tend to be a little bit sometimes, you know, like slow or rainy day or a holiday, perhaps, you know, like a Monday was closed.
Yeah.
So that means that you still make money if the Monday was closed?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Look at that. You guys go work and make some money.
I'm gonna fly next year.
Come on in.
No, but like that's, I mean, every place has a format and it works, you know, because of the place. And I think that's great also, you know, because you think about not only the house, but also you think about the staff. Because, you know, it fluctuates, like you said.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more accountability that takes place. I feel like when you're working a Monday, and let's say you're phoning it in, like you're doing a really shitty job, like it's not just the business that suffers, it's every single employee that works that week, because you decided you wanted to come in a shitty mood, or you don't care about anything more and you want to be rude to people. Yeah, you fucked up our sales, but you know everybody's tips got messed up because you didn't want to like actually take care of the guest and invest in that, you know, create regulars and all these things that helps everybody throughout the week. So I feel like it feels like a cohesive team, because you feel more responsibility and you feel like you want to do a better job, not just for the business, but the team and yourself, because, you know, every hour matters in that week.
Which is good, because also like makes you like inspire the other people, like, you know, if or like they're gonna be mad of like why they make like so many tips on weekend, and then this guy he works on Mondays. It's the less people who makes less money.
Yeah.
So
no, and I think also another thing that I'm actually thinking about right now is when you have an average check of, let's say $200 to $300, you know, and then people are supposed to tip 20%. Sometimes they don't tip 20%; they tip 10%. You know, and if this accumulates, then at the end of the week, I think you'll make a little bit more, because there are people who will tip 10%, and there's people who will tip 25 to 30%. I've seen it. Or sometimes they just give you extra cash.
Yeah, I mean, our tip average has never been below 20% since we've been doing this.
cool.
which is great. It's amazing to hear. It means the hospitality's been good and people are tipping well. But I also just think like, if I ever saw it go that low, I'd be like, what happened that week? Like who was in a bad mood or what happened? But it doesn't happen. And I think looking at that consistently and seeing it's always above, not even 20%, it's usually above like 22 to 23% every week. It means that people are taking the care and time to get those extra tips. And I think also when a negative interaction happens, or not even a negative interaction, but when someone does tip poorly because they don't know better or they're just not that kind of person, whatever they're got going on in their life, you're like, okay, that's 10% bad tip in the week. Yeah. We can handle that because y'all are doing like 25% tips. Like, I think people take a little less personally because they're like, whatever, it's water off my back. Like, I don't need to care about it. I don't need to take it personally. Yeah. If we really feel like it was a bad interaction, I'd be like, grab me and I'll go talk to them and be like, hey, what was the reason why? You know? Yeah. And most of the time, the people that do that, like, they're just embarrassed and they don't even say anything. It's like not even worth the fight because like they're like, oh, I'm just cheap. And you're like, well, there's nothing I can do about that. So.
Yeah, I've seen that. And that's one of the reasons why I said it, because if you notice that happens, you can either get the manager, whoever's running the house, if there's a captain. But like you said, sometimes people don't know. People don't go out as much. And if they do, they don't know what percentage tips is. Or if they come from out of state, like if they come from... No, if people come from other countries, they don't know the tips system.
International, I get. But like, I think these days it's now, it's like on TikTok now.
Exactly.
Like, it's like, it's 20%. Like, it's not even 15 to 10 in like small town states. It's 20% like across the board.
Exactly.
And especially like at the area where you are is like less touristic people that you feel like, obviously, if you work in times where some Europeans, they tip you $1 or $5.
Yeah.
But when you work in an industry that, mostly are locals or like New Yorkers, I always said like, it's like kind of rude that you don't tip the...
Yeah.
But also, these days I've seen like comments in social media that they say, well, you should look for another job, which also we talk in another episodes. When people, they don't have that empathy of like hospitality workers, it's not like we choose to do that. It's something that is like been years and years imposed. And they said also why the owners, they don't pay, the workers. But unfortunately, it's not how it works.
That's just the way that our society is based right now, and it's not going to change. There are restaurants that do that where they just include the tip, and that's fine. And they're like, sometimes they get a lot of complaints, sometimes they don't, sometimes it works out, but like, it's just the best way that we've thought that worked, and trying to divest from that doesn't feel like it's going to achieve much. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're kind of in a place where whenever you get that interaction with a guest and they feel uncomfortable and all that stuff happens, it never really ends up in a good situation. It's almost like you can do your best to just be like, what was wrong with the service? And they say everything was amazing. There's really no more room to be like, well, you tipped really badly, so that's not the case in your opinion. And it's like, nothing's going to change their mind, I feel like sometimes. So.
Yeah.
And I remember also when I started, you see like if you're a bosser, you go and clean the table, you see the check and it's like, why did it tip so bad, right? And then you get mad at the people, and then eventually you learn it's like when one table, it doesn't need to be, messing my whole shift, because there's other people, they really tip you well, like 30%, 25%.
It balances out. You're never, like I said, we've not been below 20% the entire time we've been open. It's just kind of like, you got to let it go. It sucks. I agree. Whenever it happens to me, I'm like, why? You literally said everything was amazing the entire time that you do that. And I'm like, what could I have done?
But coming back to your story, so when you were working at, so the only place that you worked as a bartender was
No, I worked at a lot of places. So trying to remember history. So it was Mogador, and then I was working at 2 other places while at Mogador. I was hosting at Mogador, waiting to get a service job there. And then I finally got a serving job at Lighthouse, was Nama Nasaf. And that place I learned like a lot. They were great. But then I was working there, and then I also started working at St. Mazie / Bar Velo, Mr. Melo Bar Velo. We almost called it Bar Melo, but it was so close that I was like, I don't want to call it. There's like a billion bars called bar something. And I was like, I can't hear another bar X. So I was like, let's call it like alliteration, Mr. Melo.
Mr. Melo.
Yeah, a lot better. But anyway, so I was working at those two. My first bartending gig was at Bar Velo, which is like a vegan jazz club. It was cool. It was like decent money and like a really small, intimate space and like live jazz. So it was fun. And I really learned how to bartend. It's just, you're literally just one bartender and you just have to kind of learn on the flow. Maybe lied on my resume about what I knew and then kind of figured it out. But yeah, I was doing that. And then it was kind of Mogador managing. I eventually left Lighthouse because I was working like 4 jobs and I needed to like quit a couple. So then I was just bartending and managing. And then eventually I went full-time managing at Mogador. And then I was working at Macau as a manager, Macau Trading Company. And then I left to go travel a bit for like 2 months. I was in like California and India for a little bit. And then I came back, started up at Mogador again. Pandemic happened. Didn't want to work at Mogador. Was tired of managing. Just wanted to bartend. I was like doing my first training shift at Bar Meridian right like a week before the pandemic. And I was supposed to have like my first bartending gig in a while and I was so excited. And then like randomly, yeah, no, I was like, that's a bummer. I wanted to bartend. But then like once things started to open up, I like passed by Bar Meridian and the owner was there and he's like, do you want to work here still? And I was like, yeah, I do. And then I started working there again, worked my way up there, became bar manager there, kind of like a pseudo AGM role too, in a way, because I was taking care of a lot of stuff. And then I was kind of looking for a little bit more on the cocktail side because I'd been doing that for so long and something with like a little bit more pedigree. So Apotec I worked at in Chinatown because I had a buddy who worked there. And then I was working at Lullaby, which I got because one of the owners was working with me at Apotec. And that was in the Lower East Side. And Lullaby is like one of my favorite places I ever worked. It was like just so much information and education, especially like coming from this old school bartender from Boston, this guy named Brother Cleve, but also this amazing owner, Harrison, who was like younger than me, but he knew so much, like history of every alcohol, every cocktail. And they did education all the time. They make us take quizzes, which sounds annoying, but it was like, it taught me a lot very quickly and just like a little bit elevated style of bartending that I wasn't used to. And then from there, picked up a consultation gig and started to do Mr. Melo stuff, basically. We like had an offer to go look at the space that we eventually did Mr. Melo in. And I quit pretty much everything. And Bar Meridian was like my last gig before going into Mr. Melo.
And when you decided to open Mr. Melo, how did the idea came from? Like you and your partners?
Yeah. So Nate, it's definitely his idea first. 100%. I love music, but I'm more the bartending side. He's DJ. He also was bartending for a really long time, but he's on the music side. He went to Japan, solid listening bar, which is very different than New York listening bars. Any listening bar is very different than the Japanese one. It's more like a chill coffee shop vibe with a bar where you kind of just listen to music and drink, but you're really not talking that much. It's a very calm, chill vibe, as opposed to like what we call listening bars now, which are like pseudo clubs with like really good music, but it's loud and people are talking and having a good time. But yeah, he wanted to do it. That was back in like 2019. Got a deck together. And then like we were working together at Bar Meridian. We worked together at Mogador. We had just been best pals. And then he was like, I'd love for you to do the bar stuff. And then we'll open this together. And I was like, that's amazing. I'm super down. And he had his deck ready. We showed it to this woman who owned the space prior. And then she was like, it's amazing. Where's the money? And then we were like, we got the money. Oh. Totally. Like we didn't know, I was like, no, we're just going to tell you the deck and that's it. Right. And then she was like, well, how much are you asking for? What are the investors? Who are they? And we were like, oh yeah, we'll get it together. Where are the P&Ls? All these things I had never thought of in my entire life. But you put it together as fast as you can. We found a bunch of investors. We figured out what the hell P&L is, and then basically showed that to her, and she was like, great. And then we did a bunch of lease negotiations, and then I think we were in the space in like August or October, sometime around then.
Wow. And then was the bar ready when you guys opened, or do you guys have to renovate everything? And
I mean, it was a fully functioning bar beforehand. We just had to do all the audio stuff. So that was like a majority of the money just went to soundproofing the space and in making the DJ booth and creating a bunch of paneling and all that. That took a couple months. And then just kind of like resetting the bar and making it a little bit more cohesive and make sense to us. So it was definitely not, we had a lot to work with, and we made it what it is today, which is amazing. But yeah, that was the process overall. It was, I feel like the first 6 months, especially from build out to when you open and like a couple months afterward, are just brutal. I have like 2 friends that are just open bars recently, the museum and Kind of Nice. And it's just like such an enduring process.
Yeah, you have to put more than the 8 hours that you know.
100%. Like you're there 100 hours a week, and you're just constantly like, we make no money at all, because like your bank account is just withdrawn. And that's your personal bank account, not like the business, because you're like throwing everything at rent and like food and your normal living costs, but you're barely making anything because you're the owner. You're like just trying to make sure the business is got money to pay rent at the end of the month. And so that
payroll, I guess.
Yeah, payroll, but more importantly, make sure that the staff is paid. So like we were paying ourselves like $250 a week, and like slowly got up as we got busier to like 500. And I was like, man, we're gonna be so broke at the end of this year. But that unknown of whether you're going to be busy when you have like a really slow day where no one shows up in those first couple months, is just like brutal. And you're like, why would I want to do this? But I do want to say it's amazing and so enjoyable and like the best moments of my life, because I feel like we hear a lot from bar owners. They tell people not to open bars, and I'll never say that to anyone, because I feel like it's just such a pessimistic, negative way to look at bars and restaurants and what they are. And they are hard, and some days are terrible, but they are amazing things to put together, and hospitality is such a beautiful thing. And like, just because you have really bad days and times where things cost like thousands of dollars you weren't expecting, it doesn't mean it's not worth it. And you may be stressed out, but it's definitely going to come back to you, and you're going to feel good eventually about it. And I hated when I had like 3 different people say to me while I was doing it, like, or beforehand, they'd be like, never open a bar. Or like, why did I open a bar? And it's like, I don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? And I don't want to tell people that.
But also, I feel like many people who says those things is also people that they don't have a lot of experience in hospitality. Like they have the money, and they open places because they focus on the money.
Yeah.
And I think many places that succeed, even it takes a little longer, is because you feel like it's not like I want to make money. I want to make people like comfortable to go a place that they feel not just happy, but at the end of the day is something that you enjoy, or like there is something that they really like it. Like I remember years ago I used to go to this hotel restaurant that it was like very like no well known, but I used to go there because I loved their fettuccine alfredo.
Okay.
And I just go there because it was amazing. And then I just left. It's not like I want to try something else. And I think is that sometimes that you have that customers that they just want something that they like it.
And I've noticed, I'm not sure if this is correct, but I noticed that we just went there recently, and I know there was a lot of neighbors in there. I mean, it feels like a neighborhood bar, because I saw people there, and like they're definitely not industry, and if you have an industry event and we see people that is not industry, then you're like, okay, so this is a place where people's coming here, from the surrounding areas. And I think that's also what brings the clientele. We always said that the bloodline of the business is the people sitting at the stools. But at the same time, you want people from every background, right? You don't just want a hospitality. You also want people who just are celebrating for the first time their 1-year anniversary, maybe, or like friends meeting up for drinks, like these things that you're going to see every single day. I think that's what we want, right? That's what we want as a clientele. So they're going to have a great experience and they can come back. And going back to that, I remember coming in, as you come in to visit Melo, you see a bar. There's a bar. That's the first bar there. I've seen it functioning once only. But then you come back here and then you see the big open space. The open space is beautiful. And I've never been to the back bar. To the bar behind it. I just walked there for the first time and I was like, wow, this place is so big. Like you can see the space is huge. But sometimes you just go and stand in the bar. Like that's what I've done in the past. 3 or 4 times that I've been there. I've just gone to the bar, you stay in the bar. But you have a lot of space in there. And I mean, I imagine weekends when you have a DJ and music, that place is popping.
Yeah.
I remember once I had a date with my friend. We went to Mr. Melo. We sat like all the way in the back, and we thought it was like super chic. Like it feels like it has air. It's like you don't feel like packed. I feel it's like well thought, and the hospitality that the couple times I'll be there is like super cool, and you're always like smiling, and like you are like a little goofy as well. But it makes feel that even if you go there, it's nothing like pretentious.
Yeah.
So people feel like comfortable, like, oh, we don't have to have this dress code or like, be like uptight or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, the core values that Nate and I like to preach are like approachability, affordability, and then just like kick-ass hospitality. Like, I have felt so many times. I think it's a ubiquitous feeling. Everybody has felt that they went to a place and didn't feel like they belong. And that's the worst feeling. Like just walking into a bar and they say like, do you have a reservation? Or the cover's $20. Just like those kind of things, you start off the conversation so bad. And then people just feel like, why would I want to be here? You don't give them like love and warmth and excitement that you're choosing to come to this place, especially, And we got so sick of it going to places, and like there's still a huge element of restrictedness at a lot of clubs and bars these days that like I went into one recently. They were like really terrible and mean to my partner. And then we were like, okay, let's just go. Like, what was the point? We walked in, they didn't want us to sit anywhere or exist in the space. We were like, okay, we'll go. We're not wanted. And that's like a bad feeling. Like you just feel, you leave with your stomach kind of like empty.
Especially if you work in hospitality, that's
Oh
the
my
number one
God.
thing you should never do. Should never. This is the one thing you should never do, like in big capital words.
Yeah, I mean, like we all want to feel wanted and accepted when we go into anywhere, and we live in a world especially that isn't so accepting of anything right now. And so we want to walk into a space and feel immediately that we belong in that space without having really anything happen, We do the free welcome shot for everybody. And I think that just immediately puts someone in a place where like, oh, they're offering me something for entering their space. Just like you offered me like espresso this morning when I came in for coffee. You know what I mean? Like to hang out for the podcast, but like you just were like, here, do you want some coffee? You want some water? Shot of tequila? Great. I feel already welcome to the space because what you do when you invite someone to your house. You're immediately like, what can I offer you?
Exactly.
And so we're doing that when you walk into the bar. And that is the first thing is like accessibility. It's walk-in only. We take large reservations, but like mostly on the weekends, everybody can always walk in. We really never hold a door unless it's like insane packed. And we're like, we're really sorry. You can hang out in the front bar. Just give us a couple minutes. And then affordability, like trying as best you can to find a couple cheap options, I think on the menu is super important, like $9 beer and shot, $14 cocktails, stuff like that people feel like, okay, I'm not going to completely break the bank on. And then the hospitality thing, like immediate warmth and welcomeness will always like settle someone to the space and kind of change their attitude before they even sit down, even if they're in a bad mood, Like converting someone who like looks really sad before they get to the table and like making them feel like, oh, I don't have to think about any of my problems outside of that door. Now I'm in a completely different space. I can feel welcomed. I can feel like I can have a drink or some food and I don't have to worry about my problems,
Yeah, that's ultimately the goal, right? Oh, hospitality and make him feel something. Oh, somebody actually feel welcome at any space. And we felt it. We've been there. I've been, I think, more than you, but also for events.
I don't know.
No, because I can probably name the times. Yeah, I've been for a few events. Most recent was the Willie Jean competition. I think last year.
Well, you guys were here for Monday.
That's Monday.
Yeah,
right as well. And before that, we were for another one. But I think that was during BCB last year, maybe 2 years ago. I can't recall. That was when Tres Monos was in also. What's this place called?
It was Llama Inn, but
Llama,
it was now it's Cafe Bar JF.
Oh, they changed the name. Oh, I didn't even know.
It's a new restaurant. It's same owners, but they like completely changed the concept.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, for the folks who haven't been able to visit Mr. Melo, I think I would recommend for you guys to go visit. Try the cocktails. The cocktails are amazing. The ambience is great. The food also. They have snacks. And I've only had snacks there. I haven't had like a
Yeah, it's like you can have a meal if you want to. There's like a burger and an eggplant sandwich, or you can just like have some chips and dip and fries if
Yeah.
you just want something on the lighter side.
exactly.
The hummus with
Yeah. The hummus is really good.
Yeah.
We had it.
um
we had it all. Not at all, but yeah.
yeah. Before you opened, so how was your R&D? Like just
R&D for the bar?
yeah.
That's a good question. What did we do? We went, I think we'd been thinking, I think you collect cocktails over time working at different bars, things that didn't work out necessarily because like the owner didn't really like that style of cocktail or it wasn't fleshed out as much as she did. So I think I went through my recipe book and Nate went through his and we kind of put together a menu. And the bigger thing that we wanted to do was to do some aspect of sustainability. So those are the cheaper cocktails on the menu. They're all cocktails that create zero waste. Because we wanted you to be encouraged to be more sustainable. It's on the onus on us to be more sustainable. So we're going to try and figure out what we can reuse and put into cocktails. And C is just like it's a nice thing to feel a little bit better about what you're consuming if you're not creating anything after the cocktail creation, anything that's going to the garbage. But we wanted that because I think like it is catchy. Like we call them compost cocktails. I remember all the first initial reviews about Melo were like, "That's gross, compost in your cocktail," and I was like, "Great, that's awesome. It worked." People thought it was weird, and that's part of the reason we did it. But I think just the way I approach R&D in general, and not just for the initial one, it was just kind of the two of us. But every time we do a menu flip, everybody's given an opportunity to bring in a cocktail you want. I give like some parameters of stuff I need to get rid of. Like we have too much rye. Rye's not selling, so I need you guys to do a rye cocktail. And then everybody comes in, we all taste them, everybody critiques it, we make like 3 versions of it, and then we decide what makes sense for the cohesiveness of the menu. And that's kind of what me and Nate did at the beginning, was like, we brought together all the cocktails we wanted to, thought about cohesive menu, thought about having one of each liquor base, and that's pretty much how it got put together.
I think that's a really good strategy, honestly, because especially working behind the bar, and if you have the bartenders who are basically every day there, and they know what moves, and if you have something that you've been holding on for a little bit, because it also, we have to think about seasons, and if you put in a whiskey cocktail during the winter, that's gonna fly. If you put a tequila agave cocktail during the summer, that thing is gonna fly. It depends on the season, I think, but it's also very important to have one cocktail or everything of every spirit on the menu, or like a complex cocktail per se. That's how we call it, when you have a little bit of pisco, agave, and whatnot on the same cocktails.
Yeah, I call those bartender cocktails.
Yeah.
Because like not everybody's gonna love them, but a bartender's gonna appreciate it. And it is cool when you do get a customer to like them. But we always try to have like one of those that's like a little bit too complex or like a little bit weird. Like why would you put rye, whiskey, and mezcal together? Why would you do an old pal that doesn't have scotch in it and you have pisco and coffee rum? Like those kind of things I feel like expand people's minds so they don't just go for the margarita on the menu. Whenever you get the customers like surprise me and be like, cool, let me give you something that you have no idea what this is. And then you kind of like open your eyes and you're like, whoa, this tastes like so many different things. How did you come up with that? It's like, well, this is like what we really want to serve people, but a lot of people just want like tequila sodas. So
yeah, and yeah, of course. And I mean, I think this comes back to also understanding the surroundings or the neighborhood, and that's what really makes the business thrive. And when it comes to bartender, adding like some of their touch, everybody wants to be part of it. Everybody wants to be included. And in a lot of bars, people do that. Like Freeman's, we do that. Like bartenders collaborate. We drink the cocktail. We sip the cocktails. If we think something works, like we all, as a team, we have inputs and we'll say, hey, like probably use certain spirits for this, for that. But we also have a base. So I think that's very important that you give them a base. So you already have planned everything. Basically, they just having like the creativity part, and that's great. I've seen it, and that works very well, honestly.
Yeah, because also just give them the opportunity of like be part of it, rather than just like I'm the beverage director. This is gonna be the new menu. You learn it, and that's it, right? So it also gives the opportunity to learn, because some people, they don't know everything. So it helps to amplify their palate, their nose, and the knowledge, so then also can, educate the guests as well. Like you
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
sometimes the guests, they don't know about certain spirits, so they can taste it and
Yeah.
figure out like, oh, this is what it's.
Yeah, giving more samples to guests also is just like a thing I feel like we all hesitate to do. But if I ever saw someone from the staff give out like we have the little tiny shot glasses. If they give out 5 of those of all the different mezcals just to help someone pick what they like, I don't care. Whatever. What was that, 20 cents? I lost maybe $1 total from that. But a guest got an amazing experience where they just have to look at a bottle and be like, I don't know what that is. I don't know anything about mezcal. I don't know what an espadín or a cupriata is. Like, why would I know these things? And you get to educate them and tell them about flavor profiles. And you also get to kind of learn while you do that too by tasting things. So the more, I feel like education kind of gets lost and in some of it because you're, busy or whatever. But if you have the opportunity, especially in like a slower night, to like talk and engage with the guests and like teach them about things that they don't know, like even from wine to liquor to what the difference between a Boulevardier and a left hand is, stuff like that is cool. Because I feel like not a lot of people are expecting to get that. They just want to be served or they just have the expectation that they'll be served and then they'll walk out and that's it. But, getting them to learn a little bit more about what we do and why it's really, really interesting and is cool. And I feel like that would be a cool bars concept, honestly, if it was just like education first and then also we're serving you too. So you get to learn about everything, like whole booklets about certain spirits and stuff.
Yeah, I think that now they mentioned that, I think the one spirit that I don't see a lot in restaurants is brandy. And I used to see it a lot. Like, believe me, like even 10 years ago, I used to see brandy here and there, or Armagnac, cognac.
Metaxa.
Exactly. Incorporating those cocktails, those spirits into cocktails, I think it'll be great. But also if for example, if the bartender is listening to me right now, if you tell them what the difference between Armagnac, cognac, and brandy is within the same region, they'll be like, "What? This is made like so close by." I don't want to go too far because I don't want to give
talk for hours about it.
But like the same thing with agaves, right? Like you talk to a guest and they never know what this kind of spirit is. You tell them and they'll have a best experience because they'll be like, "Oh my God, this guy here, they know so much," and they'll come back. And they'll tell their friends, like, I think that's how it works for me because that's how you build a lot of regulars too. Because they'll be like, "Oh my God, this guy knows what he's doing." The next time I just go and you'll say, "Hey, can you make me my cocktail?" And honestly, I'm better at recognizing faces than recognizing names. So like I'll see somebody, he wants the same cocktail. Like the same cocktail is the exact way he wants it. And I have a note where I put my cocktails in and like, hey, if this person comes in, make sure you make this cocktail for that person. And I have the specs already. And I just came up with that cocktail in that particular night, whatever, like for that person. And it's just how they come back every once in a while, even if it's 3-4 times a year, but they're still coming back.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing just for the regular point of, I guess, building regulars.
I also, I'm just thinking, I don't think every person on the team needs to have all the education. I kind of think of entire team at a bar as everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. And everybody there's some people that are like career servers that can take 30 tables at one time and be not sweating a single one. But then there's also the talkers who are they have 3 tables, but those 3 tables will leave 5-star reviews and have the best night of their entire lives. And the guy who's taking 30 tables is, doing a lot more work, but he's getting the work done that needs to be done, while the other person is making incredible regulars. So then also you have the cocktail nerd who knows everything about agaves, can tell you about different regions for each different, varietal of agave that exists. And that's really important to have, while also having somebody who just knows how to make a cocktail on the fly that caters to someone's taste. And I think when you're building teams and when you're hiring, you got to see what you lost by the person you left or what you're going to add to the team in general. And thinking about it as a bigger picture really helps kind of craft an experience that, we schedule. Sometimes we're just this person is free on Monday and this person's free on Monday. Let's just put them together. Without thinking, well, Lee is incredible at hospitality and he is so friendly and really good at making regulars, while Matt is really, really talented at holding down the floor and making sure everybody's tables are clean and every, little tiny notes of the sound is good and the lighting is good. So now I have a duo that can do 2 different things that are really partnering together instead of just thinking, I should schedule these 2. And whenever like you change shifts and have someone else, it's always good to think like, what is going to happen on that night? Do I need to maybe have a bar back or a manager in on the night because these two are kind of the same person and they'll kind of just do this one thing that they might miss something because it's just those two are really good at like taking care of guests, but maybe not as good as making sure the sound sounds good in the space. So
And
it's like a Avengers, you know,
Yeah,
everybody
of course,
has their
yeah.
own superpower.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
did
no,
you
you're right.
learn this while you were like, running Mr. Melo? You had that.
I think it started at Mogador when I was managing. Like when I knew who was on the staff that night, I was like, okay, it's my friend Marianne. She's really good at like taking care of guests, but she always forgets orders all the time. So I'd be like, I'm gonna check in on her section and make sure everything's good more than others. I have Demi, who's in the center, who's like badass, been here for 20 years, who like knows every single regular, has never made a mistake ever, always on top of her stuff. And then I have Eliza, who like really just like career server focused and like will make some really good like guest interactions, but kind of like gets lost in the sauce and like spends too much time talking to people, something like that. So now I can be like, okay, so these sections I'm going to check in on more, and then I'll make sure to give this person a break, like give Marianne a break as opposed to Demi a break, because we're going to have the two servers who are like more focused on engaging with guests instead of just getting the job done. Those are the kind of things I like started to figure out over time. And then when we were putting Melo together, like we were so specific about the people we hired at the beginning, like we kind of overstaffed just a little bit because we wanted to figure out exactly what we needed because we didn't know what we needed. You know, like bars evolve so much from when they open to when they like really get going. I feel like we all have expectations of what your bar wants to be, like you have it in your mind, but it's always different. It's going to be something else completely. It'll still be like kind of what you wanted, but like we were expecting Mr. Metal to be like a listening bar where people were like hanging out, chilling, and enjoying the music, which happens on the weekdays, but on the weekends it's more party. It's like engaging and having fun and talking really loud, and like now we've had to change the audio system and do some more soundproofing because the space has evolved into something different. So when we were looking for staff, it was like, what does this person bring to the table? And then if we really like this person, what is someone else that we can hire that is going to like cohesive, work together really well. So I think that was the start. And now every time we've hired someone on, I think we've generally always asked for recommendations for other people, or we met them before and known them for a long time. Like we've never, in the beginning we started just hiring randomly, like when we lost people, because it was just kind of like, we don't know what was going on. Just the first year, but definitely from now on, we're very specific about who we bring on, especially because the team is so solid right now. Like one little addition might like make everything fall apart. It's like stacking a house of cards. Like you might put something that's a little too heavy and then everything falls. So then you lose the staff that you really like. So it's definitely very difficult to hire for that reason. But I think Mr. Melo has really honed my perspective on that Avengers team style of working, of figuring out exactly what your staff needs. Like bartender wise, it's like the person who is just head down on the ticket rail, like they're right by service station. They're just making drinks like crazy. Maybe talk to a couple people, but their whole gig is just to put out cocktails as fast as they possibly can. And then you get like two other bartenders who are like just friendly and nice and will take care of the guests in the meantime. So
you guys over the weekend have 3 bartenders?
3 bartenders, 1 bar back, 1 server, 1 manager, and then Nate and I are usually always there.
Wow, that's a busy night then, because normally 2 bartenders will kill it, but you need 3. That's definitely.
I think the third really just allows for
the flow,
breaking people. Like, the state only mandates you get a break after 7 hours, and most of the shifts are less than that, like an actual sit down 30-minute break. When we have that extra bartender, we don't feel like the business is suffering, and then someone can take a break and it doesn't really change anything in this scenario. Drinks may come out like maybe a couple minutes slower, but the other side of that is we do draft cocktails, which really helps with speed. Like just having a couple of the most popular ones on draft, especially like agave spirits, since they're having a moment, it helps so much. Like that gives us the grace to be able to take care of guests better, and also let the staff get breaks because they can recharge their batteries and do their jobs better.
Yeah. Take some air.
It's when you start Mr. Melo, because there's other people, they open their own a business, but also they still work in other places. Have you
Yeah.
worked or you were like
I
completely-
want to. I'm so busy. I've been doing consultations. That's like my big like main side gig right now. So it's different every time what they are. One was just like bar organization, didn't create any new cocktails, just made things like more exactly what I was talking about, draft cocktails. I was like, just batch everything this way, change this cocktail slightly so it's faster, and like creating like electrical tape on like big liter bottles and backup batches and systems. That was one. Another one was just create a whole new cocktail menu. Another one is what I'm doing right now, which is like a beer and wine menu, and just creating beer and wine sake cocktails for that. So
No sake cocktail.
yeah, they're hard. They
Yeah.
all. This is the first time I've done a low ABV menu only exclusively, and when you have a beer and wine license, you can only order wine-based things, and it's pretty difficult. And like, it was definitely a challenge. I had to get one of my friends to help me who loves low ABV stuff. So
Yeah.
And what do you think about like like having non-alcoholic or low ABV?
low
No.
ABV. I think NA is a must. I feel like I've seen recent TikToks about this too. Like there was a hot take. It was like, you can't be a world's 50 best bar without having a non-alcoholic menu. And I'm like, or a non-alcoholic drink on your menu. I was like 1,000%. Like, we're talking about accessibility and like approachability. Like, you want to have things that cater to everybody, which in this case, you got to have the low ABV and you got to have the non-alcoholic. And I think specifically, I like having one on the menu, but I love having a little side menu because I feel like then they feel special because they have a whole menu that's just dedicated to them for their needs. That's awesome. Like restaurants that have the gluten-free menu for people who are celiac is also just like a really nice thing. I wish we could do that. We don't have that many food options there.
Yeah.
But we do have the non-alcoholic menu. And I feel like if you're not taking care of those guests, especially with NA having more of a moment than it has been in the last couple decades, it's just kind of like a fuck you to them. You're just like, whatever. I don't care about you. You're not important to us. Sorry that you are sober your entire life or you're a recovering alcoholic. I don't care about your case. It's like the empathy thing. Like, I think the things that we can do as businesses is always just to have empathy for our guests and whatever their needs
Or
are.
if somebody's pregnant.
Yeah, if someone's pregnant. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the other hand, like you said you work a lot, right? So how's your social life, your personal life outside Mr. Melo?
It's all right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of you invite your friends to hang out with you when you're working at the bar. You do like a more daytime stuff because that's when you have more time to hang out with people. I mean, we're getting better and better about setting our own boundaries about days off. Like, I'm supposed to be off on Mondays. Nate's supposed to be off on Tuesdays. If we don't need to be there on a day, we'll just be like, don't come in. Like, you take a rest. He was sick this week, so he took off a couple days. And I'm a little bit of a workaholic, so maybe that's why like my personal life is not as good as like other people's. I like live to work. I love being in the space. I love, just constantly trying to make the bar better and making everybody's experiences better. And that's what makes me happy. So like people can judge me for not having an amazing like social life, but like I'm happy and I'm having fun,
I feel the same way sometimes too. Like I want to be at the bar every single day. Like if that was me, I'll be there because I want to see like things going on, make things, how things are going, like happening. But I see it from your point of view because I remember somebody told me, think as the owner. Like when you have a mentality, when you run in a restaurant, when you have a position that you have to do certain things, like you have to think like the owner in a way, because you have to make sure that everything goes smoothly first, but everything is going in the right positions, the right way, the right chain of process or whatever. And that's why sometimes I used to pull back from doing that a lot because I was always in the space. But I think it takes time. Like you want everything to be to make sure that it's working properly, that it's running smoothly, and that it's being done right. You know, because that's what you want ultimately. Because that's the entire experience you're gonna try to create is just for the guests. It's not for you. Like you love working with the people around, and you see them all the time. But you're never probably going to see that person again, and you want to make sure that person gets a really good cocktail or really good snack or something, Yeah. But yeah, that's what I think, and I'm with you on that one. It's hard to pull back from something when you want to be there and just want to be.
I mean, you are the owner, though. It's like your baby. You want to take care of it.
100%.
But at the same time, I feel like sometimes you need like a little space for your head and clear.
Yeah. I think every now and then, like, I just need to take like a 4 to 5 days off. And honestly, I don't want to go out with people because we go out for a living, right? I kind of just want to like go upstate and be by myself or like with my partner and just like not talk to anybody. Like that would be great. I just need like a little bit of my own. I have a big social battery, but just like a big recharge of a couple days.
Oh yeah, we need that. Yeah. Especially come back from LA. You went back. I mean, you went back to
and New Orleans too. Yeah, 100%. Like we needed a spa day as soon as we got back.
And you have like obviously besides Mr. Melo, like other places that you feel like, oh, I go some places here and there, like new bars or
Lullaby where I used to work at is like home. It's easy to walk in. It's a lot of places I used to work at. I don't know. Maybe it's more the workaholic trend. Like I just like to go places I used to work, but I just walk in and I know exactly what I'm going to get, and everybody is going to be really nice and kind the entire time. I don't even go to that many bars where I don't know anybody because I'm afraid of having the experience I had where like someone's not nice or they're rude or they're curt and they don't make you feel welcome. So sometimes I'm like, why would I want to go?
Yeah.
I go to the places that I know best. So like Lighthouse, Lullaby, Cafe Mogador. I'm trying to think of one I didn't work at. It may take me a while.
No, there's also like you said, sometimes it's hard to choose so many places, but I'm agree with you. Like if you're gonna go a place that you see the menu and super expensive, $25 for a cocktail or whatever, you want to try it, but then you go there and it's like, no, I'd rather go to Lullaby.
Yeah, like,
it's like, go back to
or like when you I don't mind whatever you want to do a $25 cocktail. Cool, I want to go try and see what it's up. But like if it wasn't served with a smile or the person who's doing it is just kind of like not into it, it's not worth it. I don't care what the price is. Like you can make anything. Like if you're a really good server or bartender, you can make $100 cocktail feel like $1 billion, or you can make $1 cocktail feel like $1 billion. Like that's the bread and butter of what we do is like by giving it with such love and respect and humility to this person, whatever the product you give, they're going to be happy.
So
you could serve trash water. You could serve like, when you take the mat and you pour it into a cup.
When you say
people would be like, as long as you were like, you're the best person I've ever met in my entire life. You're so nice. I want to treat you like my brother. Here's your cocktail. You'd be like, oh my God, I love that. Thank you.
Sustainability.
So for you that what is hospitality, how can you explain to someone that, like we were mentioning, they don't have this smile, like they just go for the job?
That's a difficult one. I feel like people ask that a lot, is teaching hospitality. Like, I feel like it is one of the most innate skills in a person. Like, I think you either got it or you don't. It doesn't mean you can't teach it, but the people who are gifted with it are definitely like that. You don't need to do any work with their hospitality. It's just kind of there. Bartending and serving and those things, you can teach the basics and they can get it. And over time, they'll keep doing it and all that stuff. But hospitality is one of those things that it's like, how would you even put into words what that experience is? We can talk about it. I've said it a bunch about welcoming someone, all those things, but like, you can't just say, welcome to the space. Here's a free shot. I'll be back right 1 second and get you some cocktails and food. Thanks for coming. I love you. Whatever. You could say those things, but if you don't have meaning behind it, if you don't make them laugh in some way, if you don't try to engage them in some way, it won't matter. It feels meaningless. And that's the people that just kind of come in and clock out. And I think everybody has an opportunity and a chance to learn and to want to do better. And so you have to be like, hey, you're really good at these things, but the one thing you're missing, and if you want to stay here, is you have to be able to pick up on the more hospitable aspects of doing this job. I want to give you the grace and opportunity to do it. Let's figure out what specifically you can do as your personality to make that work. And I think that's the only way that you can make someone learn hospitality, is like to find their little superpower or their niche thing that they're good at when they go with the guests. And then sometimes they're just going to have to do that one trick every time. And that's just going to be what they're good at. And that's what you have to teach them. So like, if you're really good at telling jokes or whatever, that's your one niche thing. Or if you're really good at education, that's your one niche thing. Or if, like, I know someone that like when they clock out, they're the friendliest, nicest person in the world. When they're clocked in, it changes. They have like this very
Serious.
I think it's like fine dining kind of personality sometimes, where you're just kind of like, my pleasure, thank you, of course, you know, where you're just kind of doing the exact job of what it is of like, it's the show, and you have to like get hands behind your back where you're like very specific and like, this is what fine dining is, so I know it's good, and if I do this, it doesn't matter. Like, but then they clock out and they're like, yeah, blah, 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 telling jokes, making people laugh. They're smiling a lot. They're like enjoying it. I'm like, you just gotta have to, I want you to pretend like you're clocked out all the time. Just do that. I don't want you, actually, like, I don't want you to clock in anymore. I'll track your hours. I'll track your hours.
If that's what it takes.
If that's what it takes. And I'll make sure you get paid correctly, but I don't want you to clock in and clock out. That's just like a small thing to change the person's persona of like, I'm never clocking into this space. I'm just coming in. I'm going to work, but I'm going to be who I am and, you know, represent myself well. So I think for that person, we figured it out, but it's different, 100 times different case by case. Like, you definitely have to interact with the person. And I think the interview at the beginning is so important. Like asking questions and like getting to understand someone for an interview of like whether they know how to bartend or something, like you can get through those and experience wise, but really like what I'm looking for in an interview is like, can you make me laugh? Can you make me feel special in some way? Can you, you know, teach me about something? And if that can happen in an interview and I just feel the vibe is correct, it's just the vibe, then we're good to go. Then I'll teach you. Like one of our staff members had zero experience coming in. They were just a really nice person that was one of our regulars at our old job. And we were like, do you want to work here? And they were like, yeah, I would love to work here. And I was like, great, well, I'll teach you everything. All you got to do is just be ready to learn. They were like 100%. And I was like, I saw the potential, and they're like my favorite employee because of that, because I got to like curate them and how they got to do the service and bartending stuff, but they were already kind of ready with how to take care of people. You know what I mean? They're already a really, really nice person. So it wasn't hard to teach the hospitality stuff.
Yeah, that's so cool, because I remember when I first started working in hospitality, if you were trained at any place, they would give you a whole book of, you know, the spiels of like the steps of service, for example, and you have to memorize those things. And like you say, you know, when you go to a table, hi, how you doing? And it was very monotonous. Like you will say the same thing to the table next to you and the next one next to you. So basically it felt like a repetitive mode. So this is one thing that one of the managers said to me, like, you have to be like, say it with different words, you know, say it with like, just change it a little bit, and then just, you know, it's the same process, basically.
Be you. He was just telling you to be you,
exactly.
basically.
And that's one thing I learned, you know, like a lot of us, we hold back a lot because we want to say it the way it is. But like, and we're not breaking any laws or boundaries. You just like, kind of like feeling relaxed, being relaxed, you know, like what she said earlier, like when you go to the table and, you know, you feel like the energy is a little bit higher, get to that level. In that sense, like, hi, how you doing, guys? Like, a joke perhaps, you know, like, oh, is it like, you don't have to say it's cold outside, it's like to break the ice, but you at least start the conversation with a way, and they like look at you like, oh, okay, we have to pay attention, because that happens a lot when for service, when there's a group of 5-6 people chatting, and then you approach the table, and one of them is talking to you, the other 5-4, they're like still in the conversation. So you basically have to make sure that you're there and then take everyone's order and interact with everybody at the same time. And that's hard. That's hard. Like, I don't think hats off for the servers, because they do that with, like you said, 10, 20, 15 people. And that's to get everyone to get pay attention to you. Yeah. It's really like hard. I remember one person that I met in my life that used to do that. Mikey Martinez, rest in peace. He used to say that a lot. He would go and take orders. And he would like joke with the entire table. And I was like, I want you to train me. That's why I wanted to be trained when I wanted to be a server. But you know, that's like you said, it's within you. You can't really teach that. It's something you'll pick up also along the way as you start getting more comfortable, you know, because if you're becoming a server for the first time, it might be a little bit like intimidating for you, but as you're gonna like grow and like gain experience, it's gonna be easier for you to like to do these little things, you know, like just, like have fun with it. Perhaps, like I say, a joke, or just talk about food. You know, you don't really have to say many things. Like, you know, like so many things, right? So many things. But and you know, I'm loving this conversation, and I'm actually loving the fact that you are telling us all this stuff, because we've said a couple of things, but we haven't really gone up to like, in depth to like, the TP situation and how important it is for all of us, working in the service industry, but also how important it is for our guests to feel comfortable at the space, And if you have anything to add?
Yeah, no, I was gonna ask you, like, how's your like, I guess you learned that also from your family.
Yeah,
And
no,
how-
100%. It starts at the home, I think, for everyone. Like, we're not born in a hospitality. We're not working as servers when we're 4 years old. I think we just witness what human connection looks like. And then we start to learn why we love it and why we want to connect with people. And then we see when it's the first time your parents invite their friends from work over. And you can see that before they got there, they set up the plate of cheese and meats. There's like a fresh bottle of like a really expensive wine that's open. And they put candles out and they dim the lights. And like walking into that space and then being like, here's a glass of wine, here's cheese and meat. And you're like, this is so welcoming. This is so nice. And like, I think really in like more immigrant-based families, like it's so important. Like my family was like crazy, like getting the house clean or getting everything perfect on my Greek side, just so that when someone walked in, they had so much food that they had no way of consuming and so much warmth and so much friendliness and so much love that like it felt like being at like the best 5-star resort every single time.
And do you remember, like, I mean, I don't know if your grandma is still...
Yeah, both my grandmas are around, thank God.
And like, how was your relationship, for example, with your great grandma? Like, how she talked to you, or like, she was funny? Or...
Yeah, she's amazing. She's like, my yaya is like the super funny person, loves cracking jokes, definitely a little bit on like a nagging side too, kind of making you feel a little bad, but not in
Like
a really
sarcasm?
bad way. Always making sure you have food all the time. Always, smoking a cigarette inside. Not the really most, can't do that anymore at bars, but like, just kind of like definitely a personality. And I think just always making sure every little thing was going okay whenever I was visiting. That's kind of what it is. And I love her so much for that. And I did a cocktail competition for Vine Pair last year, and I made a cocktail for it that was just kind of like inspired by her. I called it the Yaya. And I spelt it the way that I thought it was when I was a kid instead of how it actually is spelled. So it's spelled Y-I-A, and then I just spelled it Y-I-Y-A,
Okay.
which everybody mispronounces. Bad name to put on a cocktail menu, but I was like, whatever. Everybody kept on saying Yia, and I was like, come on.
It's Yaya.
It's Yaya. But yeah, the way I made the cocktail was definitely like a lot of Greek-inspired stuff, but I made the cocktail trying to envision like how she made me feel when I was at home and how she made other people's feel and just like how she tasted things, like I said, with just looking at them as opposed to like actually, putting on the back of your hand, you just kind of know what it tastes like and put it together without a recipe. So
What were the ingredients?
it was a couple Greek spirits. So it was mastiha. It was just one. It was mastiha, and then it was a cucumber. So it was also a zero waste cocktail I wanted to do, but like completely zero waste, including the garnishes left over from infusions. So I think it was dill and olive oil infusion. There was an oleo saccharum of cucumber peels and leftover peels from the bar, and mastiha and 2 different types of gin. And then the whole thing was force carbonated. And I used citrus brine too. Citrus brine, leftover husks, boiled in water. You make citrus tea specifically, and then you acidify it. That's it. So I put everything together in one cake, carbonated it. And then the leftovers, I got honey from upstate. I got Greek yogurt specifically, and I took everything, olive oil, dill, peels, cucumber peels, shit that you probably shouldn't put in a foam. And then I just blended it so many times until it was like enough. And then I put that as a foam on top of the cocktail. Oh, and some pickled onion brine too.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So it was like tzatziki as the cocktail.
Okay.
Because she made like cucumber yogurt tzatziki growing up for me, and that was like one of my favorite things to eat. So I did like the base of the cocktail, all the stuff I mentioned, force carbonated, just kind of like a fresh, refreshing cucumber dill soda kind of vibe, and then you top it with the tzatziki foam.
You just made me think about like a mascarpone like variation, like
Yes.
on top, like
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, the cocktail at Tins is amazing that Bowen put on recently. It's like I think calls it brain eater or something, but it's got salty mascarpone foam on top, and it's delicious.
Wow.
Yeah, savory foams are really awesome. I'm like so done with whipped cream. I kind of like want something salty on top.
Yeah, it plays well with the the freshen part of the cocktail, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking about it, but
Yeah.
I usually take one. I mean, when I drink, like a dessert drink cocktail. So it tastes like, for me.
Yeah. Dessert cocktails are delicious. I'm not much of a sweet tooth, so I feel like I don't gravitate towards them. But like, there's definitely a nostalgia when you get like a mudslide or a grasshopper kind of cocktail when you were a kid and you got like milkshakes. It's definitely nice to like kind of relive that with a little bit of a boozy context.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite, and I don't know if they're gonna say something, but it's the Ramos Fizz.
Ramos Gin Fizz?
I love it.
Where do you get to order that?
Well, I don't.
You know what? She did it at a place only one day. I think it was her birthday on the 25th.
But I asked him.
Yeah,
if he
yeah.
was comfortable doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was December 25th. It was also not as busy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It was her birthday, so she said, "It's my birthday. I wanted Ramos Gin Fizz," and that was
Well, I didn't say it's my birthday because it's like, I don't care if it's your birthday, but I was like, hey, I really love. And I was kind of like a conscious self, but I don't usually.
yeah.
I know. But I like Ramos Fizz. Well, it was a pleasure having you here.
Thanks so much.
Talking a little bit about you. And I think it's very important for people to, realize that we'll say like it's a person behind, and it's just not like, the business or the bartender, but like it makes sense a lot of like, for example, like why do you put Mr. Melo and how you.
Actually, I have one question.
Oh, you have.
Why do you name him Mr. Melo?
Why?
Where did the name came from?
So it was originally Bar Melo, but Melo is the more important part here. Melo it's a couple of things. Nate picked it specifically because it's at the root of a lot of music-based words, especially melophiliac, which is someone who's obsessed with music, M-E-L-O, right, or melody. Then later on, I was doing like some research, and it worked out really well. Melo is Milos, which is ancient Greek for music and lyrics also. So there's like a double entendre there for that, because there's the Greek aspect to the bar as well. And then I think like it just makes sense, like we have a more laid back approach to like hospitality. Like we're not as in your face, like we just want to make sure you have a good time. It's a chill experience. It's not too, like we don't make people wear uniforms. We don't make people have reservations. It's supposed to be like easy to get into and easy to do what you need to do and have fun. And that's like the mellow, chill vibe.
Yeah.
Right.
And like I said, I didn't want to call it bar or something. So we ended up with Mr. Melo for the alliteration.
Yeah, and the font, because I was trying to look for the fonts. I was like, what's the name of this font? I can't remember.
Oh, it's a custom font.
You guys did okay.
I have a crazy, amazing, super talented designer for Melo. His name is Caleb Bennett. He does a lot of stuff for New York Times. He's like the only caveat with working him is like he gets to do whatever he wants, and like even if we don't like something, it's like sucks to suck. That's just the way I made it. And you gotta like it. And we're like, yeah, that's true.
I realized because I went through all the fonts that you can find, and I was like, I can't find it.
Yeah, I think
So-
he like hired someone to do a custom font for it, and that's our like font. Like I don't even have access to that font. I don't even know how we're supposed to. He just sends me stuff in it. But I got it tattooed on my skin.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
But also you had like a circle, right?
Yeah, that's the other one. That's just his like version of a record. Some people call it a boob or an eyeball.
I thought it was like an olive or something.
Yeah, an olive also works. I think we just did some cool t-shirt designs. It's kind of like an olive that looks like the same type of record on the front of the shirt. It's really cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah. There is no Mr. Mello, though. Everybody asks. It's not a real person.
Okay.
Probably.
It's a common last name in Brazil, so we get a lot of Brazilians sometimes.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Well. So before we go, can you tell us the address? So if they can visit, just Google map it.
Yeah. 61 Wither Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11211, south of McCarran Park by Bamontes. Everybody knows Bamontes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
It
having
was a
me.
pleasure. Like I said, it's it's always like good for us knowing more about the peers, but more personally. So we became more like friends.
Yeah.
Like
of course.
like real friends.
Yeah.
Do you want to shout out to someone at the camera?
Shout out to someone. Everybody at my entire staff at Melo, everybody works really, really hard, and I'm appreciative of every single one of you. too many to name, but you're all the best. And Mr. Melo would not be what we are without you. And also just anybody who comes in, I'm thankful and grateful that anybody wants to spend money at my business. And that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
so
we're
much.
gonna leave. Thank you, Lord, for another episode.
Another
Yeah,
one?
high five.
Thank you.
We're gonna leave by saying, thank you guys. If you guys want to watch more episodes like this, go to our website www.bartalkingbarnyc.com. We also, if you guys like to support our show, we have a link on the bio. So just buy me a coffee.
Buymeacoffee.com. If it's also in our bio in Instagram. I want to say thank you for watching again another episode, and don't forget to tip your bartenders. Don't forget to tip everyone in general, and we thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing, and comment, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, this week we're gonna do bar talking bar after
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say this is, and then we say bar
Talking bar.
On 3, 3, 2, 1. This is.
Fuck. Okay, do it again.
This is
Bar Talking
Bar.
Bye.
Bye.